Hello guys, this is NASCAR Racing Fan 2015, back with another NASCAR review, and this one is on Carl Edwards. The nicest guy in NASCAR. He was 10 laps, 10 away from winning the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship after having a great run. Sounds like he's going to come back, and he is going to come back even stronger in 2017 and do really good, and he's going to have a very successful career. He's in his prime. And then guess what? Carl Edwards decides to leave Joe Gibbs, which is arguably one of the better teams. He just leaves. I'm just in shock. I can't believe out of all that Carl Edwards just decides to step away, but I think there's more to it than just Carl Edwards leaving. There are some other things that I think impacted the move, but overall, you guys don't know, Carl Edwards is quote-unquote leaving, not retiring, leaving. He's leaving NASCAR and the Gibbs team, and he is not going to be running full-time in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. And Daniel Suarez will take over the 19, which that will be in another video. I'll talk about that move. But Carl Edwards, yeah, he was 10 laps away from winning the championship. Besides that move, and he was saying, "Oh, we're going to be back in 2017. We're going to win the championship. We're gonna be so excited. We're going to be ready." And then they had a video, I think, on his Twitter page, or no, he doesn't have Twitter. It was a fan page saying he was going to be ready for the 2017 season and all that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just quits. There was something online I heard that there was going to be an unexpected retirement. Immediately when I heard that, I thought it was A.J. Allmendinger, because we all know how A.J. Allmendinger gets emotional, it seems like. He's just like Clint Boyer. If something goes his way, he's really happy and pumped up, but if something bad happens, he can be really, really upset. Same with Clint Boyer. I thought it was going to be him, or possibly like Jamie McMurray. I thought he would be up there, or some people also, I think, said like Denny Hamlin, probably, because I think Denny Hamlin says back issues or something. But Carl Edwards, though, seems like now it was pretty probable, because Carl Edwards is a very, very silent guy. You don't hear much about Carl Edwards. He doesn't have any social media. He's I think the only driver that doesn't have social media, and that's why it's very hard to figure out about Carl Edwards, and that's probably why it was unexpected, because Carl Edwards didn't say on social media, "Oh, I'm feeling this," or "I'm feeling that." We don't know what's going on with Carl Edwards. So, it's not like with a couple other drivers. And obviously he stated in the press conference there are 3 reasons. I think the first one was he was sick of racing. I can get that scenario, because if you look at it, you're racing pretty much almost the whole year. You have 30 to 40 weeks of racing, and you only have 12, 14 weeks off out of the whole year, and it can get annoying sometimes when you're constantly racing. And I can understand that. I understand that purpose. That's one of the things I do understand about Carl Edwards is not retirement, his departure. I need to use the saying that, because he didn't say retire, but I don't know if he'll ever get back in the car. But anyways, second reason is, I think he said health. This one I'm 50-50 on, because Carl Edwards, the sport, sometimes it's just rough. I guess Edwards saw some of the wrecks he was in, because he had the 2009 wreck where he went to the fence, and then he had the 2016 wreck where he almost flipped over again at Homestead, and maybe that was a wake-up call saying, hey, it might not be the wisest idea, but at the same time, it's only happened in the last couple years, the only injuries I can think of that happened that were an impact was Denny Hamlin's back injury, and he was out for 4 weeks, and he came right back. He didn't recover really until 2014, or end of 2013. Then Kyle Busch breaking his leg at Daytona. I mean, that really, I mean, that wasn't like a life, like Kyle Busch wasn't going to die. I mean, he was perfectly conscious the whole time. It's not like, I don't think it had an impact where he was immediately just going to die. It was just his leg and I think something else. But the last one, Dale Jr.'s concussion. The concussions are pretty harsh. Remember, this is Dale Jr.'s second concussion. If he has about a few more, it could lead to serious impact on the rest of his life. So I do get the concussion thing, but if I got a concussion the first or maybe second time, then I would quit. But Carl Edwards, I don't think, has had any concussions unless he's hiding something. Remember, we don't know everything about Carl Edwards because he's not on social media. We don't know what he's feeling off the track. And the third reason, I think it was something like the thrill of it or something like that. And there was something about like he wanted to contribute, I think he's in like farming or something like that. And some other stuff. He wants to maybe hang out with his family, and I think his family works some other stuff, so maybe he wants to just take the back seat in his family, just relax a little bit. But there were a couple quotes in there that were just kind of confusing to me. Like, he was talking about how there was one thing he said. He was like, last 40, 30, 20 laps at Homestead. That's what he lives for. You were saying that. And then immediately I'm sitting there like, if that's what you live for, then why are you leaving? I think they even asked this question, and he said like he wanted a different challenge or something like that. And I don't really understand what else could be a big challenge for Carl Edwards. When racing's your almost entire life, Carl Edwards, might have like fitness and farming and all that, but there's really not any other big impact that I don't see any impact that could like something that could totally change Carl Edwards now, or maybe there's not really much news on what else he does, so that's why I'm really questioning why he's just stepping away, because we don't know much about him. I mean, maybe there's another opportunity in NASCAR that he's getting, like he's maybe he'll become a team owner, or I don't know. Maybe he'll become a crew chief or something else in NASCAR. We don't know what he's doing. He just disappears overnight, and now we're just sitting here trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because really the only details was that he was leaving. That was pretty much it, and like two other things, like he was sick of it, and that really doesn't put it together. But there is something else, is that like when he was talking about, he said something like, this is the perfect time to step out. Like this, like he didn't question stepping out now, and like this was the perfect time to just go away. When this, I mean, to me, this isn't the perfect time for Carl Edwards to be stepping out of Joe Gibbs Racing. It's not. I don't really think that it is for Carl Edwards. I mean, because he was sitting there saying that there was no better time, and he doesn't question it. When who I really thought of, who is the perfect time to do for this move? Daniel Suarez, because I don't know, it just sounded awfully like that. Because if you don't know, Daniel Suarez is under contract with Eris in the Xfinity Series. Probably the whole reason why Eris came to NASCAR was because Daniel Suarez was going to get a ride in Xfinity, and they decided to sponsor Carl Edwards in Cup. I'm not saying this is entirely true, but this could be part of the possibility. We all know in NASCAR, sponsors are very hard to get. We've seen Dale Earnhardt Jr., it took him like 3 years to cover the whole of, I think, Mountain Dew whenever they reduced sponsorship. Tony Stewart's car, look at when Bass Pro left, now they still can't find sponsorship for that car. Carl Edwards' car has a little bit of an issue, but I think the possibility is Eris decided like that we want Daniel Suarez next year. I mean, he has an Xfinity championship, and and they could have said, if that doesn't happen, then we're just going to take our money elsewhere. I mean, it sounds weird, but it could have happened. And Carl Edwards, maybe he could have heard maybe Eris's request, and he could have just said, I'm done. Simple as that. I mean, they're talking about like he can't. There's another thing about he went to Gibbs' office and told him about the opportunity about releasing him, but it just doesn't add up. All the scenarios he gives doesn't add up to one conclusion on why Edwards just decided to leave overnight. And there's a lot of people also questioning this move. Why would Carl Edwards leave in the middle of the night? It seems like in transition of a season. This is January, and he just decides to step out. So I just think that could be a possibility. Eris decided they wanted Suarez, and if they could have just said we're going to find another team, even though that'd be an awful decision leaving Joe Gibbs, and then maybe either Gibbs told him, maybe paid him to shut up or something like that, or told him he'd probably give him something else in the future, or Carl Edwards could have just said, could have been a good person like he's always been and just said, I quit. But at the same time, I don't know, maybe there'd be a lawsuit or something like that. So I am totally confused. But I'm just saying there's just got to be a better explanation why Carl Edwards is leaving. This is a bad explanation. With Jeff Gordon, we all knew Jeff Gordon was going to retire. He was slowing down. He wanted to retire on top, and Jeff Gordon, you had Chase Elliott also coming through the ranks. It just seemed like he was losing his touch with the field. Tony Stewart, the reason why he retired was because he just wasn't having fun anymore. He wasn't that great anymore. He had 3 bad seasons and a lot of injuries, and he decided it was time to leave and pursue dirt racing. Carl Edwards, there's really no conclusion on why Carl Edwards is leaving except the fact that he's sick of it and safety. That's it. There's nothing else. And maybe we'll get an announcement, but this is one of the worst explanations for a driver leaving NASCAR. It just seems bland. And then even Brian Scott's explanation was better. He just flat out sucked. So I don't know. I hope we get more news. I just can't believe Carl Edwards would just step away after being that close to winning the Cup championship. I just can't believe it. I mean, Carl Edwards is one of my favorite drivers. He's up there. He's near where I live. He's pretty much the hometown driver, and he just leaves. I mean, I'm still scratching my head on why Carl Edwards would just leave. I hope we get some more news, but this is pretty devastating. I feel bad for you Carl Edwards fans out there. I mean, you feeling the same thing that I had with Jeff Gordon retiring. Man, that would have been a very emotional review if I had a YouTube channel back then. But in the end, I don't know. I hope we hear more, but it's just sad to see Edwards go. So that's the end of the video, guys. So if you like this video, give it a like. Like them on Facebook, NASCAR Racing Fan, YouTube, and NASCAR Thanks News page. Subscribe for more videos. This is NASCAR Racing Fan 2015 signing out.